Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, September 5th, and we're on the European account. We need to get a Tavern Brawl done, we need to play some even cost cards, we need to play some Druid class cards, although not so much really. I could re-roll the Druid class cards and into maybe a 60. I've been re-rolling everything and not getting great re-rolls on Hearthstone's daily quests lately. Got a lot of news to go through. A little bit of catch up since there wasn't very much news to happen in on Monday, which was Labor Day in the United States.
I must protect the wild.
I feel like also there's a point I should point out here is I'm still doing the same old outro. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find time to get the new outro done by the beginning of 2019. Like, I know that's far enough away that it seems like there should be time, but I also feel like I should just record more games. Like, the outro is a cool idea, but I think inherently I should just be making more content, doing as much as possible to have more games in more time slots and catch up and be ahead again. We got a lot of games to talk about. There's one called Alan A period L period A period N period colon Rift Breakers. It says it's two short linear stories written by Rin * PY. Alex and his friends are rift breakers and must protect the city while fighting monsters spawning from the rifts. Does not sound much like a text-based short linear story game as much as the idea of a game with no ability to develop it.
In the grand
and
tournament, you win.
Yeah, this looks like this is a troll or extremely low effort game for a text-based game. Oddly though, it has better backgrounds than most text-based looking games. This game is tagged as casual indie sexual content, text-based and short. I think the short tag should probably get used more. It has 15 Steam achievements. It's 10% off at $2.69. So if you're a reader and you like to read, maybe you would be interested. It says it has 15,334 words in total. I guess that would be helpful information for a text-based game. But I don't even think it's much of a game. I think you're literally just reading stories, which then stops making it be a text-based game and just makes it text. Like, I don't know if it does anything other than that.
Job's done.
So this is an easy enough game to pass on. So next we have a game called Dude Comps, which also seems like it's an extremely low effort game. Looks like a RPG Maker game, and we read an article last stream about how RPG Maker games in general are just average like every other game. I have a hard time believing that. Dude Comps is free, it says, but I still wouldn't want to play it. For what I see, for what comes out on Steam, RPG Maker seems to be the engine, or several engines combined, that extremely low effort troll developers prefer to use. And because of that, I've seen a lot of bad games that look like that game. And yeah, it really is more genre than whether the actual game uses the actual RPG Maker engine. But Dude, top 6 like garbage. That's a really, really long way. First game from this developer too. I probably would talk about this anyway, but Eurogamer has an article. The Humble Unity Bundle features $1,593 worth of games and software for $15. I will look at it more, but I think I'm going to spend some money here because for $1 you get Oxenfree, Air Memories of Old, Inventory Pro, UFPS Ultimate First Person Shooter, and Flow Canvas. If you pay more than the average, you get let's see. You get Wasteland 2 Director's Cut, The Final Station, The Last Day of June, Realistic Effects Pack 4, Ultimate Game Music Collection, and Game Flow. So I don't know what Flow Canvas or Game Flow is. It sounds like some of this is straight up streamer stuff. And if you pay $15, you get Tormentum Tides of Numeria, Shadow Tactics Blades of Shogun, Discover Unity Game Development from 0 to 12 games. So that's like a programming thing. MMORPG, Historic Fantasy Creatures Full Pack Volume 1, Universal Sound Effects, and Gaia. So I don't think anything on that 15 tier is probably worth it for me. Although I'd take Torment, Tides of Numeria if I don't already own it, or Shadow Tactics. But I think the $1 tier might be good enough. But also really don't have the budget for buying games at all. So like the main thing I see here is Oxenfree would be what that's even the game I think it is. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Dead Frontier 2. It says it's an early access free-to-play gore RPG. The thing about this game is it looks like a zombies game. It's tagged early access zombies free-to-play gore RPG. I would have thought it was a first-person shooter in the first place, not a role-playing game. And all of the monsters I'm seeing in this trailer for this online survival horror is what it's describing itself as, looks really, really good. Like, there's actual polish here. This isn't a asset flip style zombie game as far as I can tell. It looks like a polished newer version of something like Left 4 Dead. The idea of having RPG elements in a shooter can't possibly annoy me, considering I love Borderlands. Let's see. Just continue to play minions as much as possible. The problem here is, can I play it single player? It says it can be. But I'm not sure it does. It has a third-party account for Dead Frontier 2 and a third-party EULA. It says it's early access and free to play. I kind of feel like this is a game somebody should check out. If you like Left 4 Dead, if you want to play something that is, I guess, sort of an MMO, or maybe just it's an MO as in multiplayer online instead of massive multiplayer online. What's weird is this is also the first game that's listed on Steam, so where did Dead Frontier 1 go? Dead Frontier, the zombie MMO game. Yeah, this exists. It has a website, but apparently it never came to Steam. Interesting looking game. I'm not by default just a super huge fan of zombie games, and I really should get around to play Left 4 Dead and see what kind of experience you would have in 2018 playing Left 4 Dead 1 or 2. But yeah, that's not one to pass on. I don't think. I usually don't recommend free-to-play games, but this one looks like it's good. What doesn't look good is the next game I have called Zetavolt Trigger. That's ZETTAVOLT space Trigger. Looks like MS Paint level graphics for some sort of cheap first year computer programming looking game. Seems like they're trying to implement the concept of making a Metroidvania style game with no ability to program or animate towards what is required for a Metroidvania game. Zetavolt Trigger is $2.99, no discount, and it's the first game from this developer.
The Feast of Souls.
What's funny is if I could play all my cards, possibly there would be a way to win. Next game we have on Steam is called Echoes 3, and the screenshot says made with App Game Kit. It is another Asteroid clone game, which typically Asteroid clone games look a little bright and colorful. It has 50 achievements. It's 25% off for $7.49. I do not recommend it at all. Like, you'd really have to do something amazing, just absolutely amazing, to make me consider playing an Asteroid clone. And this is actually being published, I believe, by the developer of the App Game Kit. So they made their own game on Steam to show off their own game kit, which they're trying to sell also, which sucks.
I must protect the wild.
Needs to be filtered in some way. I guess what's on Steam does do some level of filtering there, because I don't see a ton of listings for software or movies. In fact, I almost see none. So what's on Steam must only be telling me the games. Game Searcher has an article. NBA 2K producer, microtransactions are an unfortunate reality of modern games, is the quote. Well, you're the producer, so you're the one adding the microtransactions. You're the one making that unfortunate reality. And there are plenty of developers out there who develop games and say, no, we're not going to have microtransactions. Just because Electronic Arts is forcing you to do it. Don't try to sell the whole game industry this line of BS that, oh, this is just how it has to be. No, it doesn't. Not for 1 second. Discover a minion or a spell. Let's see. And can't do anything else. Next we have a game on Steam called Gauge of Rage. It's a top-down shooter using low resolution pixel graphics. It looks like there's a lot of upgrades you can get on your guns, but it also looks like it's not completely a low effort game. Like, somebody put some effort in the animation and the menus and such. Somebody was trying to make a game here. It just doesn't look polished and doesn't look fun. It's $3.99, no discount.
Time waits for no one.
And let me play before the rope appears. And let's see if this developer's made anything else. They released a game January 6, 2017 called Rogue Stash that, or at least one of the developers did, that has never gotten any reviews. Like, you really have to get the visual appeal. You just have to. Because if you can't convince a player to spend their money to play your game, even knowing the 2-hour no questions asked refund window exists, you've got a problem there. And I guess inherently Steam kind of wanted people to embrace that 2-hour refund window a little bit more, not amazingly a lot more though. But yeah, that almost certainly was the case, is that they were trying to have less, more people play, more people play some of these smaller games and give them reviews, but didn't really happen. Moving on, Your Game has an article. Pinball FX3 is getting tables from the legendary Williams and Bailey line, which I guess that's nice and all. Williams and Bailey license was previously held by Farsight Studios, and the popular pinball arcade game featured some of the manufacturer's most beloved tables, including those based on the Addams Family, Twilight Zone, Star Trek: The Next Generation. However, in May this year, Farsight revealed that its license would expire at the end of June, and that its Williams and Bailey table will be withdrawn from sale. And I spent a lot of money making sure I got all those tables, and it'll be interesting now, because almost certainly I'm going to get around to a point where I spend a lot of money buying the same tables on Pinball FX3. If I was to argue anything though, I don't think the games play as well on Pinball FX's platform as they did in Pinball Arcade. I just kind of don't like how it works, and how the game responds and feels, which is a big thing in pinball. Like, it really needs to feel like pinball, and the fake tables that Pinball FX3 has had up until this point, because I don't believe they've had any tables that they've done that they didn't create themselves. So this will be very interesting, because that's also more money. The announcement video really doesn't show anything. There's some screenshots here. We'll see. The real question is, how much does it really cost to switch the graphics and the visuals from one system to the other? It may be almost a 100% direct copy and paste job between the two systems. I'm still trying to win the time and ball. I have to remind myself what I'm doing. It says the first batch of Williams and Bailey tables will launch on Pinball FX3 include Fish Tales, Junkyard, Medieval Madness, and the Getaway High Speed 2, all of which are currently playable in the public beta form on Steam. The betas are faithful recreations of the real-world arcade counterparts, utilizing Zen's new physics simulation, and support FX3's features including single-player challenges, multiplayer matches, and user-generated tournaments. Which, there was a while there where Pinball FX2 was just not doing what it was doing when it first launched. It stopped doing the tournaments and stuff. Zen says that they'll be making their way onto the Switch, the PlayStation 4, and Xbox One also. See, that might just be the death knell for Pinball Arcade. Like, that could just be the end of it. I wonder, can I find something that would damage everything? Because if I could get a minion,
my totems, my
that would be really good. Let's see. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Konami announces its Tokyo Game Show 2018 lineup. Let's see. Let's see if we can cover all of this. Dankara Boys Be Dancing for iOS and Android. eBaseball, GQ, Powerful Pro, Yaku League, Esports, Stage Tournament. Hinabita Banmeishi, Streaming Music CD, Hypersports R Switch, GQ, Powerful Pro, Yaku, iOS and Android, Love Plus Every, iOS and Android, Pro Evolution Soccer 2018, iOS and Android, Pro Evolution Soccer 2019 for PS4, Snake Pass for PS4 and Switch. Let's see. So, wasn't Snake Pass the game where you played as a snake? And wasn't that already out? I'm gonna play this one. And I'm gonna play this one. Play that one. Play this. Just play a little conservatively. Okay, and let's see where did I stop. Super Bomberman R, PS4, Switch, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, iOS and Android, and PC. So maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links would be good on PC, but I doubt it. I bet they'll target cell phones a lot more. Partner titles include Fighting EX Lair for PS4, Kogado Studio Shimaru-san Team's new title for the PS Vita. There's a long description on what that is. La Mulana for the PS4 and Switch. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel for the PS4. And Mantis Burn Racing for the PS4 and Switch. So one thing I'm noticing here is that from my perspective, I find the non-Konami games to be way more interesting than the Konami games that were listed. And that shouldn't be surprising because Konami is not really into the business of making games or good games. They're just trying to milk the franchises that they have to death. Let's see, there's a whole schedule here also talking about it. Yeah, not interesting. Not interesting games at all, except for the Yu-Gi-Oh game. That one, maybe. Snake Pass is the Snake game, so that's already been out. It's just probably coming out on a new console. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that with the Switch also, just games that came out 6 months ago, a year ago, even a couple of years ago, coming out again on the Switch and getting some advertisement and some hype that normally would have been saved for other games, and it certainly is contributing to this feeling like there's just too many games. Like we've really hit that point where it's like there's too many games announced, too many games on the schedule to be released. It's driving everybody to exhaustion from just having to decide what they can and can't play this year. Gematsu has an article, The Missing: J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories, details the story and game system. Let's see, this is an Arc System Works game partnering with Swery, which thought he was doing his cat game. I guess he's doing both, I guess. Yeah. This article's not really saying too much here. See, story. The sudden disappearances of a dear friend spurs JJ Macfield to go looking for her friend on the curious island of memories. Let's play. Enter. You can't die on this nightmare island even if you're seriously injured. No matter how many times JJ is brought back to life from the grips of death, she continues to drag her mangled body deeper into the woods. She risks suffering of having her arms and legs torn off, her neck broken, immolation, all in order to find her friend, complete the game to discover the answers of this mysterious world. Yeah, I saw in the original thing that there seemed to be a level of damage that her body when you were playing, but I wasn't 100% sure that that was going to connect to anything, because plenty of games have had systems where the characters die, they react to it and take damage. Let's see, game system. There are many puzzles that stand in your way during your journey. Hit the iron ball to reverse gravity or use pieces of JJ's disjointed body in order to progress. Keep an eye out on your surroundings and think about how to use that to your advantage. That's pretty much it. The missing JJ Macfield in the Island of Memories is due out digitally for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC in 2018. It's probably going to be a pretty short and I think kind of horrific game, but I'm a little interested in it too because it's weird and I love the weird game. And if I can get a weird game instead of an RPG Maker-esque or an RPG story game where you literally just save the princess, you're the chosen one, defeat the enemies, and go fight the dragon. Same things over and over again. Or, you know, you're the Master Chief, you're gonna go fight a bunch of aliens. Or you're the Anthem characters, you're gonna fight a bunch of aliens. Or you're in Mass Effect, you're gonna fight a bunch of aliens. That's a big one too. Game Master has an article. Fire Emblem Heroes adds Doorway to Destiny heroes Quinn, Sylvia, and Lewin. So some more characters being added to this cell phone game. I think they're going to consistently add characters to them. Of course, it is just a cell phone game, so the animation is not great. You get like maybe one nicely animated picture of the characters, and then the rest is an 8-bit small character. Right.
What to do?
Transforming your mana crystals into this. And
Access denied.
Game Master has an article. R-Type Dimensions coming to the Switch and PC this winter. Includes R-Type and R-Type 2. This would be the side-scrolling shooter to play if I'm going to play anything. So unless R-Type Dimensions really screws up on its release or is just not on Steam, it says it's coming to PC and via Steam this winter. Like, that's gonna be the game that I would want in my list, that I'd want in my collection of games to actually play, and then I could say, alright, I've played R-Type, I've played it all the way to the end, hopefully it's not extremely difficult, and I can do it. The thing I would also say is that you're not running into these bullet hell-esque experiences like you normally do. I want One more mana crystal. And I literally cannot get it. It wouldn't matter anyways. The mana crystals I'm getting back are not filling up.
Deploying countermeasures.
Good news, everyone! I perfected the plague.
So yeah, that certainly catches my eye for a side-scrolling shooter game series. Like that would be the one series. There's probably other styles of games where I should probably play the best one ever. The Japanese RPGs are a great example of that, and visual novels are another great examples. Like, I should probably play the best games in that genre, but keep it extremely limited because I'm not interested in really playing those genres very much. I'm willing to expand my horizons and play a game to a certain point, but I don't inherently think I'm just gonna decide one day to be a fan of JRPGs in total. There we go. Let's see, did that really bump me up any? I do believe it did.
Deploying countermeasures.
Eureka!
There we go. Kimetsu has another article. Mercenary Wings: The False Phoenix for Switch launches September 27th in Japan. It looks like an 8-bit JRPG game. A PS4 version is also in development, but has yet to receive a more specific release date outside of this fall. So it's not coming to PC. That seems like that's fine to me. I wanted to point out just RetroArch 1.7.4 Metal 2 macOS version is available now. They have an article about it. So that should be better graphic support for running retro games on a Mac OS Apple MacBook instead of dealing with having to go through layers and other video drivers and potentially have DirectX for a Macintosh being the middleman. Not sure if that's exactly how it worked or not, but it could have been.
Time waits for no one.
In return, let's see, we got a game on Steam called In League, which looks like, well, you know, one screen it looked completely awful, like a low effort asset flip zombie first person shooter game. Now I'm seeing a different scene where it looks like it's a pretty polished environment and world, which can only make me assume that somebody either paid or stole for a really nice looking environment, because this environment looks great, but the enemies look ridiculous and they just run towards you and try and kill you. Like, it says it's a VR game too, so yeah, that does not look interesting in particular. Let's see. You can play this and you can do this and this. And we can play this.
The enemy! Defend Unea! Time waits for no one.
Special delivery!
Attack!
Let's just kill this guy and get the board clear. Let's see. Yeah, this VR game called In League, 40% off for $11.99. It's just inconsistent. So, yeah. That inherently is a problem with every low effort game, every asset flip game is a merging of some really good assets with some very bad looking assets or assets that are just not complementary. This is the first game from this developer, at least one of the developers listed. Yeah, actually first game for both of the developers listed. Alright. Gain a mana crystal. Might as well try it. See if we can get some excess mana as a druid and draw a card. See if we can get something else.
My winged children fill the skies.
That would be a great card to have played. We got a game on Steam called Giral. Is that girl? Giral? That says, in order to seal off a magic dungeon which suddenly appeared out of nowhere, the young feudal lord Giral, let's pronounce it that way, tries her best to protect a newly appointed domain. This is a simple RPG, which battles consist of ramming into your opponents. So let's see, it says RPG Indie Casual. It looks like it's an RPG Maker low effort game. And yeah, it's just, it really is just, you're walking around a world and you're bouncing into characters and doing damage to them. And I assume maybe they're doing damage to you, or maybe not. Like, who wins in a fight if you both have the same attack and the same health? What does this one do? If this one survives. Let's go ahead and do that.
What was lost can be found again.
For the wild. Job done.
Let's see. Well, all the graphics of Giral looks pretty bad except for the main character. It looks actually kind of nicely animated, which I kind of assume that it is a stolen artwork from some anime character. It's $2.99.
I wonder.
Like, if I call most RPG makers extremely low effort games, when you take out the basic turn-based fighting mechanic of an RPG and you're just bouncing into
Must consider.
to people, that's even more extreme. This developer's made one other game that got 86% positive of 23 users, called Mavi's Journey, which is inherently, I think, why you don't play bad-looking games. It says the publisher is dlsite.com, just like download site, which they've got like 2 other games that are rated positively by a very small number of people. I think this is probably closer to voter manipulation, if I was to guess, than actual people liking their games. And this really just feels like a really, really low effort experience. Yeah, the previous game, Mavi's game, was only in Japanese too. So it's weird. They have a Japanese RPG they've already made, and yet they make a more simplistic RPG. Let's see.
For the wilds.
Let's hit that. play everything.
I wait for no one.
In return. So yep, close that. Next game I have on Steam I don't believe is in English. No, it's Japanese only. It's a bunch of Japanese letters and then Violet Detector. So really nothing to say there. It actually doesn't look like it's a very good game anyways. It's a bullet hell shooter with bad animation. Next game we have on Steam is called 428 Shibuya Scramble. It says it's a adventure FMV visual novel mystery. Let's see, the kidnapping on the streets of Shibuya brings together a hot-blooded detective, hard-hitting journalist from a ganglanger, and the head researcher of a big pharma manufacturer, and a part-timer stuck in a cat costume for a series of events, each more unexpected and outrageous than the last. So, this is full motion video with a bunch of Japanese actors, one would assume, interconnecting stories. I think I'd already seen a little bit about this, and so I'm gonna put this on the wish list. I think it already is, and see what the response is on it. Let's see, what is the languages? It says it's an English subtitle, so they didn't. It's not even in a Japanese. Maybe not all the actors are actually Japanese. But certainly some of them would be.
Total corruption. Total power.
This guy cannot attack because he's damaged. That's why I keep messing up. Next game we have on Steam is called CSI VR Crime Scene Investigator, and with a name like that you'd kind of think it was a licensed game from the CSI TV series in VR, but no, it isn't. It's a extremely low effort game that has in the trailer you see what is his name? Inspector Gadget. Just a terribly animated Inspector Gadget clone character that you're working with. Which I guess Inspector Gadget is supposed to be an animated cartoony version of Sherlock Holmes. So I kind of get that. Dude, have I played enough Druid cards? No, I need to play one more Druid class cards. Then maybe we can move on to something else and potentially get the Tavern Brawl done. If this game didn't smell sleazy in the first place, it's in English, Arabic, Russian, and Turkish. Early access for $4.99. I might be interested in playing a VR game where you're a CSI crime scene investigator, but that's not what this is. This is a low effort game. I can pretty much guarantee. Let's see, next game we have is all in Chinese or Japanese, and that's an RPG Maker game on top of it. It's simplified Chinese, so we can't talk about that one. Moving on, let's trade out all these cards. Eurogamer has an article, sign up to Bungie's new rewards program and get a free Destiny 2 Forsaken soundtrack. So if you really love the Destiny 2 Forsaken soundtrack, you might want to sign up to the rewards program. I'm kind of the opinion you might as well just sign up to every rewards program and give all your information out anyways, because if you don't hand it to a company, they're just going to figure out some other way to get it anyways. So if it's not you selling your information, it's Facebook, it's some other service. Unless you're just incredibly paranoid, and everybody you know is incredibly paranoid, and they're not releasing any information on their Facebooks, or Twitter. Like, I couldn't care less about the Destiny 2 or its soundtrack, so that's more just, I wanted to put that out there in case people were interested. Maybe the soundtrack is really, really good. I don't know.
I ain't talking.
Feast of Souls begins now. For the wild.
Gamma Sutra has an article. 21st Century Fox sinks $100 million into social streaming platform Caffeine. Which, honestly, the last thing I would want to do now is join Caffeine. If you know that 20th Century Fox is going to own it or have a major influence in it, it's kind of the whole Hulu issue too, where Hulu was owned by the studios and they really didn't want to do a good job. They just wanted to try,
I usually work alone.
they wanted to try and make it not easy enough to use Hulu that you would leave cable, but easy enough to use Hulu so you wouldn't BitTorrent their footage. But that's kind of all what they wanted to do, if they had any real logical thought process at all, which there's a good chance they didn't. And Hulu is pretty bad of an experience. I'll hold on to this one and see if I can get as many minions on the field. Let's see. The new opening will be jointly owned by Fox Sports and Caffeine, which will focus on creating exclusive esports game and sports and live entertainment content for the company's broadcasting platform. So apparently they're creating a new in-house entertainment studio. So Caffeine's not even a place where people could stream, which inherently, like, so it's just a production company. I don't know why this is video game related at all, other than esports. Which that kind of nicely gets us to the next article, and I don't know how I can be super objective in this instance. Like, I really don't know how I can be super objective of this story, so apologies if I come off super biased here. But this story was reported by many people. What I have in front of me is the TechRaptor article. Olympics won't feature esports until quote unquote violence is gone, says Thomas Bach. The International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach said that esports cannot be featured if they in brackets promote violence or discrimination. Let's see. Batch said that, quote, so-called killer games are contradictory to Olympic values and cannot be accepted into the games as a sport. Batch was a former fencer who won an Olympic gold medal back in 1976, drew a line between fencing and other Olympic contact sports and video games. According to Batch, every combat sport has its origins in a real fight among people, but sport is the civilized expression about this, and games in which players kill each other cannot be brought into line with our Olympic values. So the thing I think you take from this, if there is anything, I'm going to try the Warlock here, I think is in this sentence, this quote, games in which players kill each other, is, I think, inherently where he's just wrong. And any argument that I've tried to thought that even agree with him, falls apart with the Olympics. Now, inherently, there's a very good argument. It's a good thing that there aren't esports in the Olympics, because the Olympics doesn't pay any of its competitors at all. They make tons and tons of money. It's basically a scam. They rip off countries and cause countries to go in debt for the prestige and the pride that it gives their leaders, but it doesn't really help the impoverished people, or in the construction and all the work and all the effort that running the Olympics doesn't really do anything in the long run to help the countries. But yeah, you're not killing other people in a video game. There, to my knowledge, has never, and almost certainly never will be, a game where you strap in a headset that has like a gun to your head in reality, and when you die in PUBG, it in reality pulls that gun and kills you. I mean, that'd just be ridiculous. Like, that's something you would see in maybe a horror movie or something, not in reality. So the idea here is to say that video games, which I would argue very much are the civilized form of expression of any latent violent tendencies that people have, as much as, say, playing football or basketball, and how a lot of those players are also aggressive and work out their aggressions on the court, and instead of in the real world, or at least one would hope. It's just a disconnect. And there's many other ways you could look here and go, well, fencing uses swords, so weapons are already allowed in the Olympics. There is I believe it's called the Iditarod in Winter Olympics, where you're skiing and you're shooting guns, so guns are already being shot in the Olympics. Archery has been in the Olympics. Boxing has been in the Olympics. Like, boxing in particular is a great example, because in the real world you're actually pummeling and punching people in that case, with very little protection, and you're hitting people with the intention of harming them, which is different than fencing, where you're simply hitting them with the intention of scoring a point. Sumo wrestling, another great example. You're literally doing judo actions with the intention of displacing or flipping and potentially hurting your opponent. So there literally is just no line you can draw here. The only thing I think he could have said is that we, on a one-to-one case, will evaluate each game, and we're not going to allow games like Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto has the character pulling out guns and shooting unarmed civilians at times, or having such an extreme advantage that even when the police arrive, you can still easily fight your way through that. I think you could give specific examples of specific games and say, this is where we draw the line, this is it. But he's made this very broad and generic statement that falls apart at the seams. There's plenty of other games. Like, you could have Hearthstone in the Olympics. No real violence there. You could play other games. You could be playing Mario. Like, there's some really, Mario Kart or Rocket League. Rocket League would be a great example of something that might be in the Olympics. Doesn't have to be Fortnite, doesn't have to be PUBG. Could be Dota, could be League. There's esport games out there that are popular that aren't inherently hyper violent. This is a weird tavern brawl. Just a lot of gambling for new cards. Esports will be a demonstration sport in the 2018 Asian Games in Japan, I believe. Demonstration sports do not count towards the country's overall medal tally in Asian Games, but this is the first major non-gaming focused World Gaming Sport event to adopt esports as a competitive discipline. The other thing I guess you could say here is I kind of wonder if the Olympics should just die. Like, I'm not sure how many people really like it. I find it pretty much just a waste in total. Let's see. I feel like there was something else I was gonna say to this. Oh yeah, I heard someone also make the argument that esports are not a sport. That they draw a line between mental activities where you're just hand-eye coordination or you're just making moves. They specifically said like playing chess is not a sport. I think inherently any competitive actions or games, any competitive game for lack of a better, or challenge, yeah, any competitive challenge based on a set of rules, I think is a sport at that point, in my opinion. So I would say chess is a sport. I think you can easily, if you want to draw a line, you can say it's not a physical sport and that you think only the Olympics should be run by, it should only include physical sports, which I kind of would get that. It kind of makes sense, but I'm not 100% sure I would agree with that. If the Olympics sticks to only physical sports, then that just makes it even less interesting. I think as time goes on, as less and less people are interested in physical sports. What you'd want to do here is get the ESA together, get Peggy together, get all the game developers together, and say, let's have our own Olympics, esports Olympics, and let's get 20th Century Fox and some other people together and make their own thing. That, I think, would probably be your best solution to this conundrum. I can almost see what will happen here too, is that the Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, he looks relatively old enough. Give it 4 to 8 years. He'll probably just retire. Somebody new will come in and they'll change everything and esports will be in. That's, I assume, how that's gonna play. This will be our last game for this recording. Although I kind of want to rush through here, do this too, and just do 2 recordings. I have so many pre-recorded videos on Hearthstone. We got a troll game called Trippin' Hell from Ghost Rush Games, which has been for at least half a year now making troll games on Steam. We've got a game on Steam called DOC God Mode Edition, which looks like a low pixel count dungeon crawler, rogue like game, if I was to guess. It doesn't look particularly interesting. It's $24.99. Wow. That is really, really expensive. Yeah, somebody's questioning me about gold. Okay, in a sec, I will take a challenge a friend quest, and so let's do that. Let's go ahead and concede.
You win this time.
And let's play this guy. I'm more than happy to play a friend. So I said this was going to be the last recording, but I think I will take this instead. I'm just going to try and play fast. However, he declined my challenge. Oh, come on, seriously? Don't tell me this guy's trolling. Standard duel. Cancel. I have the quest. Okay, send me a challenge. I have to inventory. Oh, is that how it works? You can't invoke? I didn't know it worked that way. Okay. Yes, Dungeons of Chaos is the God Mode Edition predecessor. It's very positive, 93% of 103 users. It doesn't look terrible for a roguelike clone, it just doesn't look good. Let's see, I want to play relatively fast here. PC Gamer has an article, Dragon Quest XI's PC ports is bare bones, but it looks great anyway. And thankfully you can unlock the frame rate by editing an INI game. See, inherently, I'm really happy that Japanese developers are starting to make PC games, but there is definitely a level of ineptitude in the games that are getting released on PC. You can increase the resolution and downsample. So you change the screen percentage in the INI file to 200% to then downsample, which inherently I don't think really should do too much, but maybe it would. If I guess maybe downsampling does allow, like, there's two pictures here, one 1440p native and one 1440p downsampled, and I'm having a hard time seeing a difference, but I'm also not looking at the resolution at 1440p, so that's kind of unsurprising. I gotta remember I'm playing a friend here, so I need to move fast. Seems like Dragon Age defaults to whatever language your system language is, so you can't play in different languages or change it, which is weird. But I think Dragon Quest XI, sorry, saying the wrong name, is probably worth putting on the wish list. Probably is already on the wish list. So let's go ahead and just double check. I'll search it on Google and go on Steam, and apparently it was already there. Gematsu has an article, a record of the Grandcast War quarter conflict coming west this fall, which is interesting because I wouldn't have been 100% certain that that would have happened. Let's see. It seems like this is coming to cell phones, though. Yeah, it's an iOS and Android game. I would have thought that it would have been a PC game. An epic fantasy RPG set on iOS and Android. Comes to mobile. And see, the trailer is just a bunch of anime intros, which sure the game is not going to look anything like that at all. So I'll have to wait and see what Record of the Grandcast War quarter conflict looks like when it actually comes out. Alright, this, and this, and this, and this. Eurogamer has an article. There's a new free-to-play AAA Lord of the Rings MMO in the work, coming to PC and consoles. Usually you don't get these kind of announcements from Eurogamer. Also, there's really not any information here.
No. Trust.
So, yeah. Not a ton to really grab from that. Other than, yeah, a MMO around Lord of the Rings to compete with World of Warcraft and fail miserably, I'm sure. Let's see, we've got a game on Steam called Witchblood, first-person horror game. Let's just get down to the basics. It's 25% off for $11.24. And I believe I've already seen this game before. It's kind of this run around hide and seek game. 5 user reviews right now, so can tell. And this is the developer of the game Morphine, so I think that relevance, Morphine being known as a kind of weird low quality game that had no right to be known at all, but a few streamers covered it and it got it some notoriety. I think I'll keep that on the wish list just to see what the reviews say. Gematsu has an article, Saiku Nara Yaku Ninjin ni Sasuga for Switch launches September 20th in Japan. I don't think that game is coming with that name to the West. Let's see, a PS4 version of the game launched both physically and digitally August 23rd in Japan.
I wonder.
Let's see, it's a visual novel of some sort. Let's see. It's a story where you live alongside an invisible girl. This anime young-looking girl character, and she's like the only character that they've even shown off. And she has like several different outfit changes, so I wonder if she appears multiple times as different personalities. Yeah, it's some kind of weird parallel worlds fantasy game. If this comes to the West, I'd be interested in playing it, but I'm gonna skip spelling the name for an effort to save some time. Next we have a free-to-play game that looks like a troll game on Steam called We Are Terror, and the screenshots are just of all the menus, and that's kind of it. Let's see what it says. 4 chapters, each drawing closer to the great worldwide war between man and myth, each allowing you to experience how war begins, a reading adventure where you make choices that help protagonists of each chapter survive, but at the same time, the wrong choices offer their own rewards. So, seems like a game that's implying you're going to be playing as a terrorist, or several terrorists, in a story-based, low-effort game. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article. The accessibility-focused Xbox adaptive controller is now out and usable on PC. Microsoft's own YouTube page had a disabled comedian called Zach Anner play with it. It was really just an ad and a joke more than a real review of how well it worked for him. Which I don't think it probably worked that well for Zach Anner. Frankly. Canceled the challenge and we got it done. Thank you. So we got some gold. And I'm done. But I'm in a weird position because also this is the European account. So I've got to play some more. Will it really take me an hour? If I just take a breath and slow down, would it really take me an hour to go through the rest of the news? Because there's a decent amount of news still here. I would like to get the adaptive controller for the Xbox, but I'd have to get it really, really cheap. And I'd just be using it to play with, frankly. Like, as an experiment, not to actually play games with it. So, decisions. I think what I'm going to have to do here is let's end this recording. Let's start another recording. If that other recording only runs 30 minutes, so be it. Almost certainly it won't. But that's going to be where it is. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.